NewsBiscuit. Real fake news.
Welcome to NewsBiscuit, the UK's original fake news. NewsBiscuit, wrapping chip suppers since 2006. I'm your host, Wrenfoe, and I'm joined by three people booked onto the first flight to Rwanda if this podcast doesn't go well. SparklyBob.
Hello.
Sketchly.
Hello.
And Chipchase.
Hello.
This month sees jury selection for Trump delayed as court unable to find a New Yorker who hasn't slept with him. University protesters threatened with jail, giving them their only taste of affordable housing. And Gaza sees more bombing than Liz Truss's book.
Yeah.
And that brings us to our first round, News in Brief, where our panelists select their favourite headlines. Chipchase, what have you got for us?
You were going to come to me. I'm just in from Waitrose, for God's sake. Right then.
Yeah, he's just plugging Waitrose.
Yeah.
He's looking for some sort of
I've
little
told him-
sponsorship deal.
I've told him on a big radio show, I'll mention you a few times. I get a free coffee for this. Right then. Minimum wage increase almost allows workers to buy food.
Yeah, what is the minimum wage now?
Not very much.
It's pittance.
About 11 quid, isn't it?
Because did Rishi Sunak do some sort of little video where he wrote what the minimum wage was, and then he now wrote, yeah, it is now, to go, ha ha, like a big
Yeah.
reveal.
Ta-da!
And it still looks shit.
It gives them riches beyond the dreams of avarice. You get riches beyond the dreams of avarice now.
Someone pointed out that he was just writing down how much he paid in tax last year, which I thought was kind of funny.
Thing is,
love to do
if I hear the government say one more time, and we've increased it, so in real terms, and you're like, no, it's not, because it's like saying what they're doing is saying, your £12 minimum wage. Well, in Victorian times, that would have bought you a house. Aren't you lucky?
We've got your
There's no
rat's
thing
tail.
of, don't worry about the fact that everything else has gone up like however many percent, inflation, so you can't afford anything anyway.
On that principle, what they could just give us all is like the gift of fire. And then say, yes, but 10,000 years ago, you would have been the head of your tribe as a result of that.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, yeah, that's a great win. Thank you.
Yeah.
This thing is a wheel you can use.
Yes. Are they
It's
going
nice to
to
see.
roll out the real terms into other areas of the economy, like the NHS and stuff? So they just simply go, yeah, but, 10,000 years ago, you'd have been dead of leprosy. Like, well, that's not a metric I'm measuring myself against.
Thames Water accused boat race teams of stirring the shit.
I had very mixed feelings about that. I mean, obviously, it's terrible that the Thames has been polluted, but I did think, and this is showing my class bias there, but I was quite happy to see all those posh kids getting really ill off the Thames, partly because it was to be all their mums and dads that owned the private water company anyway, and I
Yeah.
just thought, this is you encountering the real world problems that the rest of us have.
Was it in the 90s? One of the politicians set a precedent for drinking water out of the Thames to prove it was clean. So at some point, I'm expecting someone to come down there and say, no, it's fine now. Tastes like chicken.
Yeah, it tastes like chicken. It's a great endorsement for water.
I saw a video on TikTok this week, an old video of Trump dealing with the pandemic, and it was the infamous. I've heard they can do something with disinfectant with that. Can we look into that? And the woman from the mental health or medical health looked absolutely terrified, saying, "What the hell's this guy on?"
Well, he was just testing to see if she'd been to medical school. These little quick fire questions. Can we stick bleach into our yeah? And she's like, oh, I don't know. And she didn't push back straight away, did she? She sort of like hedged it. You're like, oh,
It's very
maybe
popular
she
on
didn't
death row,
study.
isn't it?
Key to Trump is he just says stuff with such certainty
Yeah,
that
he's-
other people in the room start doubting themselves. People who really should step in at that point.
Thing is, he probably is swilling his mouth with disinfectant. Everyone thinks that's fake tan. I don't think that is.
Yeah.
I think that's actually something he is swilling, and it's just naturally dyeing his skin that horrible orange colour.
Last one from me. Ofsted's unwillingness to end the one-word assessment judged appalling.
Yeah, one-word assessments. But that's got to be bad in any walk of life, isn't it? I
Surely,
mean,
yeah.
you don't want to reduce anyone's relationship, Joe. Can you describe our relationship in one word?
Yeah.
Adequate.
Well, unless they can use any adjective. They come out of school and they go, moist.
Oh, we
Incandescent.
spent 3 days here and it's been primarily moist. Staff and students.
Yeah.
And we don't know why either.
You'd be like, oh, do I want my child to go somewhere like
You know,
I found the school arousing. What?
that?
Whole time.
splendiferous.
Right, Sketchy, over to you.
New Scottish climate policy. Move to higher ground. Ukraine offers to attack Gaza if US will give them weapons like those they give to Israel.
They described it as an aid package, didn't they, in America that they were voting on? But essentially, it was just a weapons package that they're sending out. But they combined the Ukraine weapons with the Israeli weapons. So there wasn't even like any kind of nuanced, are either these two conflicts different? Are their needs different?
It's the bargain basement deal. You get what you just give us your money, right? It's like a subscription box. Give us your money, right, every month, and then you get a box of goodies, right? We don't know what's in there, but honestly, that's part of the game.
First 3 months will be really good, but then after that, when you can't cancel subscription, then you get the stuff where you go, hold
An
on
air
a
rifle,
minute.
an air rifle and a pop gun.
It's catapult and a and a rubber ball.
Muskets from the American Revolution.
And they make up the weight with gobstoppers.
And what do you call that thing that sort of hurls things over battle? Is it trebuchet or something?
Yes,
Trebuchet.
Yeah.
Harry and Meghan to star in HRH SOS.
I haven't
And
heard so much about them recently, actually.
it's good, isn't it?
I'm assuming that's because we're not trying to bury some other news elsewhere, because I think that's when they get kind of wheeled out. It's usually if Will's done something dodgy, then it's like they put the camera in direction of Harry. I don't know if I said
the evil
this...
brother, hasn't he?
Yeah, I don't know if I said this story on a previous podcast or even mentioned it to people. Again, I don't know how true this is. I just got it secondhand from someone who's allegedly is in the know, so I don't know. You know, all those years ago when there was that photograph of Harry in the newspapers dressed up as a Nazi at the parties, yeah? And it was like, oh, this is outrageous, Harry. Apparently, that's the picture that the royal family released to the newspapers in order to get away from an even worse story, which apparently at the same party, William was dressed as Hitler.
No.
Apparently.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
If that's true, that's brilliant. Can you imagine? Because then Will's got to get out a free jail card. He can do what he likes when he likes. And Harry just knows, I'm going to get it. Every time Will does something outrageous, I'm the one they're going to pin it on.
He's the Andrew of his generation.
Are you saying Andrew's innocent? Or are you at least implying that Prince Charles is doing worse? I think Charles went to the Epstein Island as well. I put that out there. Anyway, moving on. Again, I probably can't put this in the podcast.
No.
I'm not about getting sued. I'm now worried about getting killed for treason.
Yeah.
Last one. OJ biopic to be called Glove Actually.
Oh, God.
Did he kill his wife? Possibly, probably. And because he did the book, didn't he? He wrote that book about what I would do if I had killed my wife. He wrote a book titled what it is. It was titled that. So, and you're going, if you did kill your wife, that's really messed up. If you didn't kill your wife, that's really messed up.
Well,
But the thing about OJ, could be a terrible person, could be a wife killer. Who's to say? And we can say what we like now. I guess he's dead. But I will always like him for that bit he did at the start of Naked Gun, the movie. That whole slapstick sequence where he's getting on board that boat and a whole series of things go wrong. He puts his foot into a bear trap and he suddenly, he gets electrocuted and he puts his hand against a wall and it's wet paint. And it was just one gag after the other. And I do remember in the cinema absolutely wetting my pants at that, which is unfortunate because I was on a date at the time. And I thought this would be, I thought this was a good movie because you could get a bit, we could chat and get a bit, snog and stuff. But I just started laughing right from the start of the film, pretty much all the way through. So that ruined it. But I'll always have a degree of sympathy for OJ because I did think he was funny in that. Yeah, he may be a killer, but
he's got the laughs.
Yeah, he's got timing.
He's got good shtick.
SparklyBob, what do you got?
Blackmail thwarted by MP trying to help.
So this is the Tory MP who
just handed over everybody's details ever.
Almost
in a room with a bad man, wasn't he?
Cycling proficiency. He was like,
everyone's pet names. So, and also, wasn't he? I think he was on a committee that was about kind of related to protection and stuff like that.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
My favorite bit, the icing on the cake, as it were, the chef's kiss. There was a photograph of him after the whole event and it had all come out and stuff of him looking sort of very sort of aggrieved and troubled. I think it was in Telegraph, what have you. It's a photograph of him in his office. And in the background, there's his whiteboard. And on his whiteboard is pinned his Wi-Fi and his Wi-Fi password. Couldn't make it up. The guy's he's a world-class moron. Unbelievable.
Yeah. Oh my God, just absolutely bizarre. It will all come out now that he'll be going, well, when I spoke to the Nigerian prince that I was helping, he was horrified and he
Yes.
said he could sort it out for me. I just had to give a few more details across. Thames Water announces new slogan, let them drink cat. If you're going to do something like that, go big or go home. So guys, if we're aiming to do something where we're massively going to cost people millions, destroy lives, you've just got to go big. If you do it on a small scale, you're going to get absolutely hammered. Rishi insists Tories stick with the plan for national impoverishment.
That is going very well.
Day with less worse news explained by clock change, because that's what it feels like at the moment. And then my last one was Voldemort to enter US presidential race.
I was going to say he would win by a
vote
nose.
for him.
Literally anyone should be able to beat Trump. This guy is a horrendous person. He's on trial for 1,000,001 crimes, blah, 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 blah. And yet the Democrats somehow managed to find a genocidal dementia patient to run against Trump. And you're going, my God, yeah, you actually maybe have found the one person who might make Trump look electable.
I suppose it's the term dead man walking, because that's what Biden looks like, in the fact that he looks like he's maybe even passed away already.
It's almost like they want Trump to win. The thing is,
Yes, I think they bet. I bet the odds on him at the bookies was so big they couldn't resist it, and they've all gone,
Yeah.
oh.
Someone's got an accumulator going. They had it on him when he first got in. No one believed that was going to happen. Then it did. Then they're like, they'll never vote for Biden again. They did. Oh, now we'll go back for Trump. Someone's going to cash in big time.
Our next round is True Biscuit, where our panel has to guess which is a real headline and which is a fake one. Sketchley, we're going to go to you.
Doctor says scientists secretly made a Humanzee by mixing humans with chimps.
And they called it a Humanzee. What would the other, if they flip the words the other way? A tuman.
Chim
A chip bloke.
Chip man.
You're sounding a bit like Dick Van Dyke there. Chim. You get it.
Oh, blimey, Mary Bobbins.
They spliced together a man and a chimp. Have they done this in the lab, or they've just got the chimp really drunk and then nature's taken its course?
Are you sure someone hasn't got drunk and just watched Planet of the Apes? And then woken up and was like, God, that was real. My God. They've done it.
Yeah.
What they did, they inseminated a female chimpanzee with human semen.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Did they do it with a test tube, or did it just happen? Right. Yeah.
I fell over.
Well, did they write the complete works of Shakespeare when they were at it?
Yeah.
Allegedly happened in a Florida lab 100 years ago. It's just been brought to light by someone called, it sounds like he's from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Gordon Galloop.
He got the first golden ticket, didn't he? Yeah.
Galloop.
Galloop.
That's the sound of the of the semen being put into the poor female chimpanzee.
Onomatopoeic.
Gave his name to the process. She's been gallooped. Oh dear, that's unpleasant. And this happened over 100 years ago.
Apparently, yeah.
Crazy thing they would have done, doesn't it?
But they did it
no
once.
morals
So
or scruples
we're not doing that
whatsoever.
again. That's unsanitary.
Apparently,
With galoops all over the place. It's horrible.
Apparently, they did have second thoughts, and they.
Well, I think we've all had second thoughts
reverse
after
the process.
having had sex with an animal. We all have regrets after the event. It's whether we can show restraint beforehand.
After a few days or a few weeks, they began to consider the moral and ethical considerations, and the infant was euthanized.
Oh, hold on. That's not particularly ethical. If the story ends with "and they killed the child,"
I know.
I feel the ethical. I think the ethics of the thing is broken down. If that's your bit where you got to, we just killed the child.
Yeah.
Sure, the ethical thing should have been, should we do the thing at the start? Once you're into it, and the child's cut. Oh, okay, that's horrible. What a horrible story he brought to us.
It was the last workplace party that lab ever had.
HR closed that shit down straight away.
Yeah.
I assume we could still do this though. Why haven't we done it since though? Because come on, Elon Musk is going to be up for this, isn't he? Because he wants to implant the thing in the head, doesn't he? But he doesn't get enough people, human volunteers, because we're not idiots. Yeah. But he could do it on Humanzees.
Well, who says that experiment hasn't happened and Elon Musk is the result? But what would have been the animal?
There were rumours.
Fish?
There were rumours in the There were rumours in the 1970s that a chimp called Oliver was a human-monkey hybrid, thanks to his humanistic walk, intelligence, and physical features.
In fact, it's called Oliver.
Yeah.
and he would always greet people with, "Hello, my name is Oliver." Clear giveaway. Oh, okay. So they might have done it, but he went down the arts route.
They did. They DNA tested him, and he was just a chimpanzee.
I've got one or two hairy friends. I could genuinely believe they might be on the Humanzee kind of edge of the spectrum. I mean, I know Homo sapiens. I mean, we bred with Neanderthals, didn't we? So an awful lot of us have got Neanderthal DNA.
Yeah.
Which is very prevalent on the Friday night. Are we that close in terms of DNA and stuff?
I can answer that.
Oh, all right.
I can answer that. Some experts believe that humans and chimpanzees, our ancestors, may have been capable of interbreeding as recently as 4 million years ago.
As recently as that.
Yeah.
Well, that's almost like yesterday, isn't it?
Yeah, God, I remember 4 million years ago.
And so either we change physically or just our standards went up that we stopped shagging chimps.
I think it was the aliens. Aliens came and took a load of us and evolved us into humans.
Right.
Sounds plausible.
Tell you what,
I don't think I will have to fact check this later, Sketchly. I'm not sure.
Tell you what, Ancestry's got good, isn't it? On that online thing, you can go back 60 million years now. And go, oh yeah, look.
Picture of Oliver.
Horrible enough, it's probably true. I think
I'm leaning towards true as well.
Gordon Galloop was a real person, and the whole Humanzee thing was apparently true.
I want them to start doing these unethical experiments again.
Yeah,
I like there's enough sort of horror and science fiction movies where things are spliced together that I quite like. So I'm like, yes.
But they don't end well.
No.
That's the thing, you're saying that, but
that's
then
true.
It normally leads to our demise as a race.
To be fair, look at all the things that we are doing that has in cinema led to our extinction, right? There's AI is on the rise.
Yeah.
Okay. You've got, that's all I've got, I'm afraid.
Okay.
There's AI. It's a big one though.
And the only way are you saying the only way to stop the rise of AI is for us all to have sex with monkeys? Is this what you say?
They're the future. They're our future.
Well, actually, as long as he can grow his fingers really long, because that's the thing the AI can't get right, is it? There was these brilliant photos of these giant crocheted cats. If you haven't seen it, look up giant grannies crocheting giant cats. I can't tell you how big they are. And and straight away I was like, oh my God, look at this. I kind of really want one. And then you look at the granny's fingers and they're like some horror thing because they're all really long. And you're like, oh, the giant crochet cats aren't real.
AIs, and they often give people, they can't just give them more fingers.
Too many fingers or very long fingers.
What's that? I mean, that can't be a very intelligent response. How many fingers have you got? 10. 10. You can count to 10. You're an AI, aren't you?
Yeah. What length are they? Well, approximately normally about this much in relation to everything else. Oh, I know what I'll do. I'll make them a foot long. They'll never see them, guess that's not
that'll
real.
Blend in. Right. SparklyBob, what about you?
Tombland time traveling toilet. First of all, Tombland in Norwich, that's a place. And basically, this reverend was parking his car and this lady came over to him and said, help, my husband, he's using the public toilet and he hasn't come out. And it's been ages and ages and I can't I've been shouting for him and everything. A traffic warden had gone past and I said, I can't fight, my husband's gone down to the men's toilet, he hasn't come back out. And so the traffic warden went down, checked, no sign of him. So this reverend went, oh, well, I'll go and have a look. Went down, no sign of the husband at all. And then literally 5 minutes later, the husband walks up the steps from this toilet that had been empty and said he'd gone down, done his business, come back up, and the car park was completely deserted and there was nobody there. And the only cars he could hear or he could see cars, but he couldn't actually hear them. So they were all electric cars. And he was like, where has his wife gone? It's really weird. Went back down in the loo, came back up again, and he was back in the present.
Wow.
Worst episode of Doctor Who.
Time traveling toilets.
Right.
And in the future, everything's electric. There you go.
But the public loos are still as shit as always.
Yeah. The loos, I think the loos hadn't changed, but the outside.
That's got a ring of truth. It's I can imagine technology goes amazing and we've all got our own special hoverboards and all the public loos are still smelly and horrible. I'm not suggesting anything dubious was going on, but the other thing, obviously, male public loos are famous for in this country is cottaging. Now, I'm wondering whether that man was indulging in some unsavory practice. The other guy went in there and they enjoyed themselves, and then they arranged this cover story so the wife wouldn't know. I mean, it's the kind of thing I would try and play out. Yeah, oh, sorry. Yes, I'm a time traveler, and I would just have to be accidentally holding his penis. And it's a reverend as well, you say?
Yeah, it's a reverend.
Yeah, well.
Because she recognised his dog collar and went, Father, I need your help.
And you like going in public toilets. Yeah.
You look the sort that would go down
Yes.
and check out whether my husband's
In
there or
fact, he
not.
didn't even need to be asked. He was just running. Didn't need to know
He was there.
context.
Yeah, didn't need to know that she thought, What is a bit weird, and I'd like to say, if this was my husband and he hadn't come out, I do feel like I might have had the wherewithal to maybe go and actually look myself. Just shout, if no one else has gone in there.
Oh, no.
I like, because obviously if he was bleeding to death on the floor and you were like, I'm just going to wait for another man to go past.
Don't go in.
check.
Don't go in. Men's loos are horrendous. Don't go in.
I don't think I'd want to, but I'd feel like I would.
You don't know. You don't know how bad it is. Yeah, you'll be scarred for life. If you were going to hide in the loo, though, and you didn't want someone to spot you, or you went with the best way, would you stand
In the
on
cistern.
the loo?
I'd be in the cistern.
Oh, okay. You thought it through,
Yeah.
Chipchase.
Yeah, I've got,
People don't realise
I'm
how small
contortionist.
Chipchase is. I mean,
I'm
we're looking at him
contortionist.
now. He's maybe only
Yeah,
a
yeah,
foot
lift a little
tall.
in
So
there.
this is all very plausible.
It's Rishi Sunak size.
You'd hide in the system.
well, where else can you hide?
Well, for first up, you can't hide in the system, Chipchase.
You can't. If you can't be very small.
Where else can you hide?
Well, what about if he had superpowers? What about if he was Tiny Man or something?
So that's more
able to
plausible
shrink
than time
himself down.
travel.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Okay.
we're
So
turning
his
into a
cover
blockbuster.
story was to avoid the fact that he's didn't want to blow his superhero cover.
Yeah.
He just pretended he was a time traveler instead. That would draw attention.
You could use
No
those great
one's
big
there.
long fingernails to grip the ceiling, so as people look in, and you're up on the ceiling, they look around. Nope, nobody here. Close
Oh,
the door.
these the big AI fingers again? You're
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about?
Like, or he's the
yeah, yeah.
Oh God, can you imagine? How
Oh,
horrific
no.
would that be? Going to the loo, it's all a bit dark and dingy, and just at the corner of your eye, there's a guy hanging off the ceiling. Fucking hell!
Hello.
And also you're in a place called Toonland. So
Oh.
like,
I thought it was
Yeah.
a Geordie
No, it's a
theme
place
park.
in
I thought
Norwich.
you said Toonland.
Everyone walks around with no shirt on, regardless of what the weather's like.
I'm gonna say it's a news biscuit. I'm gonna say because I just don't understand. Why wouldn't she call the police? If her husband's gone missing, why ask the vicar and the traffic warden?
Also, vicar and traffic warden does sound like sort of just generic characters off the shelf,
Carry on.
sitcom style.
Carry on
Yeah.
film, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm the same sketch. I think this is false. I think it's false.
What really? Because you could have hidden the system. You already proved that.
yeah.
I could have, but I wasn't there. I mean, it wasn't me, and I'm sticking to it.
Anyone flushes their loo at home and it doesn't
That's me-
work,
that's me
do
gone.
check in the system that
Yeah.
Chipchase is not in
You're
there,
on your own.
just swimming around. Hello. He's very small but cute.
It's true.
No, it's not true.
Yeah, it is. Wow.
It's not true.
No, it's
I'm
not
not saying-
true, is it?
I'm saying that the woman, the man, and the reverend all believe it. They reckon it's a time slip. They
Was he?
came up.
That's what he was wearing. He
Yeah,
could see his
yeah.
underwear when it's coming
Yeah.
out. That's why.
The Reverend said, I tried to weigh up what might have happened, and it seemed when he came up the stairs for the first time, there'd been some sort of time slip. I certainly couldn't explain how or what had happened. I think time is very mysterious, and he did exactly the right thing by going down again. And when he came back up, he was on
Yeah.
time. It's exactly when we've got the manual about what happens when that
Yes.
does. You go back down and come back up again and hope that everything's okay.
This does say something about our clergy, though, that when in the presence of what's clearly a miracle, they dismiss it as a scientific time slip, where they
Or a
should be
time
going,
loop.
no. If you're a priest,
Yeah.
you should be going, this is an act of God. See, God exists. They're not. Instead, he's like, oh no, it's an episode of Star Trek or whatever. You're like, no. You're missing a trick there. You spend your entire career looking for miracles and evidence of God. He gives you this insane miracle in front of you, and you just like blow it off as a Brian
Yeah,
Cox
yeah. God's up there going, oh, for God, for me's sake, I try and show you extraordinary stuff, and then you just make up words.
Yeah.
They explain it away. It was me. I'm telling you to go electric. That's what I'm saying. The future is electric cars. pointless.
How many pieces of toast do I have to appear on before people believe it?
Yes, yeah. Go back to the drawing board. Back to the toast thing. It's the only people recognise.
Yeah, it's the only thing people really believe.
Yeah, I let them shag that monkey that one time,
Yeah.
and that didn't work either. Right then, Chipchase, what have you got?
Well, keeping the religious theme sort of going, the Pope cannot be an organ donor.
Because he's so old.
So drunk. I assume it's to do with his sheer holiness. Is the fear that if I was going to say if the Pope had slipped an organ into me, but that's a little bit too on the money for the Catholics. I was just going to say, so if I'd got I don't know, the Pope's liver inside of me, would that inadvertently make me closer to God and more holy? Therefore, I've
make your liver infallible.
Yeah, that's going to heaven.
Yeah.
The rest, just sorry.
No, but is that the fear that other people would just sneakily get bits of pure goodness inside of them, Freddie Breck?
Well, I think that's a shame because don't they all get sort of mummified? They when they die, they get not bandages, but don't they get sort of coated in? Yeah, because if you go
Resin.
to
and made into a coffee
like
table.
Donald Trump, yeah. Donald Trump, quite bright orange.
Yeah, he's going from the inside out now rather than the outside. Formaldehyde. He's necking every day going, I'm going to live forever.
They coach the popes.
I'm sure they do because I'm sure I think it's at the Vatican or somewhere you can go and visit. They've got them still laying in state in they've got Pope John Paul. He's still sort of laying in state in a glass.
I don't want to see a dead
No,
Pope.
something like that.
I didn't know that.
Their bodies haven't decomposed. Or mate, I'm sure of it.
Listen,
And so
You don't sound sure, do you, when you're saying it? If anything, you're trying to convince yourself. I'm absolutely sure.
On that route, we went to school. We went to a school trip when we were kids in Ireland to a place called St. Mickin's Church in Dublin.
Right.
And there are indeed mummies there that it's good luck to shake hands with.
And you can shake hands with it.
You can shake hands with it. It's kind of grey. It looks
can't
like
be-
a piece of yes. And we were all terrorized as kids.
And so
You might be right, sketch that.
there's an actual mummified person.
Yeah, look at St. Mickin's after this,
But hold on, if you're shaking it all the time, isn't it just going to fall
Oh,
apart?
off.
No, they've probably got some kind of fancy hinge arrangement built in or something. But it's horrible. It was gruesome.
If I worked there, I'd cut a hole in the wall behind and put my arm through.
Yeah.
And
I know. Just hold them. You're my wife now.
What more can I do?
The point that I was making was when during the mummification process they removed the organs, so those organs are going.
Well, they're going
spare.
spare.
Yeah, use them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But surely there's a point where, I know they're probably doing it for holiness sake, but surely there's a point where they just go, you've reached an age, no one else wants that. On
Joe
how
Biden
much-
might.
That's true. Oh my God, I can see it. But
It'd be like,
somebody,
like a new lease of life for Joe.
imagine getting an eye implant and you're going, oh God, I'm now short-sighted and long-sighted at the same time. What's happening to me?
Yeah, but you'd see things. You'd see the Holy Ghost and stuff. Or
Yeah.
that'd be cataracts probably. But there'd be some. If the popes
you
would be believed, there'd be some bits of their organs they haven't used much. The penis, in theory, is untouched. You could.
The Vatican officials said after the Pope dies, his body belongs to the entire church.
Oh, we'll all have a bit then.
Because Chipchase has presented us as one story, then Sketchley's given us a second story,
Yeah.
and I
Sorry.
guess if I believe Sketchley's one, does that mean I believe then Chipchase's one a bit more? I don't. It's like
I
layers
might have
here.
definitive proof. When it comes to
This
guessing,
is like the end of Usual Suspects.
I
Okay.
think it sounds true. I think it's the sort of thing where they'd say the body's sacrosanct and they can't divvy it up, and you can't have people going around with a holy kidney. God knows what they're doing
It
with it.
leaks everywhere, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to say true.
It didn't used to be true, but it has been, I think, since Pope Benedict. Furthermore, if papal organs were donated, they would become relics in other bodies.
So people would come to you to worship.
Yeah.
You become a new deity of some sort.
Yeah.
Oh, they touch you.
Yeah. Yes.
That'd be fun.
So
I'm
could be.
suspicious. I think that implies that maybe he was hiding something. He had something dodgy inside of him. He didn't want others to find out.
Maybe
Maybe
he's doing a bit of smuggling and it didn't come out.
he's a drug mule. I'm pretty sure he's a drug mule. He's going all around the world. Nobody thinks to look up his cassock.
Yeah.
It all makes
Plain
sense
sight in his
now.
Pope-mobile with all his windows. Yeah,
Yeah.
nothing here, nothing here,
Nothing to
guys.
see.
Cocaine
Yeah.
shark all over again. Right.
His
Okay.
hat's
Well,
up there. He's got all this stuff under his hat.
his hat. Yeah. Finally, we reached the magic 8 ball.
The
Each of our guests is going to give us their predictions for next month's news.
Liz Truss goes so far into denial, she actually takes the blame for everything.
National lottery machine to be awarded knighthood after government syndicate gets 3 numbers.
I was hoping you wouldn't ask me because I conveniently forgot. I'm going to have to think. Give me a topic.
Chipchase predicts a riot. And that brings us to the end of this episode. And I reveal this month's winner is Taylor Swift for surprising us all with an album about breakups. She's never done that before. Hey, did you see that thing? Did you see her? Someone monitored her private plane usage.
Yes.
Did
Oh, and
anyone
it's
see that?
terrible.
She's a one-woman wrecking ball. Or there was that Miley Cyrus.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. You're getting your female artist mixed up.
But it just goes to show. I mean, you can recycle all you like. It just takes one Taylor Swift, and she'll destroy the environment by herself. Yeah, she's writing an album about that. Right. I'd like to thank Sketchly,
See ya.
SparklyBob,
Cheers.
and Chipchase.
Waitrose. Oh, sorry. Thank you. Bye-bye.
And I leave you with these headlines. Lyme disease specialist uses tick list.
Oh, God.
Dodgy Botox doctor has stiff reprimand.
Oh.
And man who botched making cup of tea gets restraining order.
Oh.
It hurts, doesn't it? Actually, they
Love a good
physically
pun.
hurt that week.
You've been listening to NewsBiscuit, free to read and free to write for. We accept submissions from any budding satirist, young or old. Visit newsbiscuit.com to submit headlines, stories, and to support new writers.
NewsBiscuit. Real fake news.
I will cobble these things together, these magic moments.
Can
And,
you cobble an 8-ball for me and do it in an AI voice or something?
what does he predict? What does
Lawrence
Chip do?
Johnson. Well, you know,
That's what's going in.
yeah.
You've just done that. And people are going to go, what the fuck? What the actual fuck was that?